once you have customized it the way that you want, you can create your dashboard and it's going to show up on your profile. So we have several dashboards that are set up for us, but we'll show you, I can show you a little bit about what ours look like. So under the Analytics tab, this is, for the most part, this is the only tab that we use in Social Bakers. Just because with Publisher, we already have Spreadfast that we use for all of our publishing. So there really isn't a need to use the Publisher on Social Bakers. Plus, just the capabilities that Spreadfast have are better when it comes to publishing than Social Bakers. And so for that reason, we just use Social Bakers for our analytics. But there is a lot to see here as well. So this is for our Facebook pages. And here there is, okay. So you can look at for all your social media. You can also search according to your competitors. We have distributors. We have several of your we have your regions here. Nu Skin Global, which shows all of the regions.
Jaron, for competitors, is that you guys who entered them, or?
Yeah. You go in and you enter who you want, or like who you consider as your competitors, and it will compare them. So we're comparing ourselves against other direct selling companies. Those are our competitors.
Okay, and we could add some ourselves. We could add some ourselves.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
On your end, when you're going through and customizing it, and you get to the competitors section, you add in who you want to be considered as your competitors. I would have to go onto one of yours and do that in order to show you, and we can do that. I'm just going to go through kind of what ours looks like, and then we can do that at a later time. Does that work?
Perfect.
Okay. So here we have, let's go to all social media. So you can split it up over here according to the platform. So the ones that we basically use are Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Those are the three big ones. So if you go on to Facebook, so you can do a lot here, but you can filter it by labels, and we've kind of set up these labels. And so when you set up your Social Bakers, you can also set up labels to kind of be able to just target certain areas. So ours
maybe you can do Nu Skin EMEA since we are that region.
Okay.
Thank you.
So here we have your regions. So let's click on Nu Skin United Kingdom. Here we can see your total number of fans. We can see your change in fans, and the biggest change you had in fans, which happened to be on April 10th, and the average change of fans per day. So you can see where your fans are distributed all throughout the world, basically. And you can see what percentage they all come from. So 54% comes from the United Kingdom. And yeah, you have them from all over. So over here you have the number of page posts, average page posts per day. You have your distribution of page post types. And then it'll show you what your actual posts were like and the kind of interaction that you got on the bottom. So we use this when we have a monthly meeting where we kind of talk about the current content that we're going to be having for the next month with several groups throughout the company, and you can go in here and pick your most, these are your best posts, basically, your most engaging posts. And so we'll talk about these posts with the team to let them know kind of what's doing really well for us. So here you can see what your top posts are, what your top posts were for the last 30 days. Because right here you can customize it to do the last 7 days, last 30 days, 90 days. You can even do less than that if you wanted to start at like just a few days time. You can pick even just one solid day. And then you would apply it, and you could see what your content was like on March 24th, or any other time period. And you can go back as far as you need as well to go check on content that you've done in the past.
And we were discussing when you were gone that you're always choosing the ones classified or ranked by interaction, so that have the most engagement. That's kind of an aligned metrics.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Also, I could see there was a difference when pulling reports. Whenever I was under a country page, or if I try to look at all countries together, the kind of report I can get is different. Is that normal? Because when I pulled the report from one page, like United Kingdom, I got a PowerPoint presentation. But whenever I went in the ranking, like across all EMEA pages, there was only the PDF option. That makes sense.
Yeah, so we can look at that. I'm not sure why it would do that, because usually it gives us the option for either one, for the PowerPoint or for the PDF. For Excel, it gives us like several different options for exporting, because you would export the report. Is that right?
Yes. Maybe if you can go back into like the overview of all the pages.
Yeah. So let's go back here.
And I was under EMEA.
Is it just like this?
Yeah, I still have the option of PDF, but there are less options than when you're under a page.
Okay. So I will talk with Matt and see if there's an option to get it so that the PowerPoint shows up.
Okay.
Because I know that he has more capabilities than even I do on Social Bakers, because he's like the admin for our account.
Okay.
So I will see what shows up for him and let you know. But yeah, so here are all of your pages. If your page is not considered, if it's not under here, then let us know and we can get it added. But you can do the same thing for Twitter. And this one we have less options, but we can see kind of what ours is like.
So here we could add the UK already.
Okay.
They are in you have in the inventory file I sent, but I will resend the link to. You have the list of our profiles, so it would be great to update this.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, if you send that to me, I will take a look at that.
Okay.
The other thing that I wanted to point out with Social Bakers, labels for us are really important. And we'll be doing a training on the reputation drivers, and we kind of talked about that when we were talking about Spreadfast, when we did our original Spreadfast training. But here, I'm just going to go to, okay, this is important actually. The content newsfeed tab over here will show you all of your posts. We'll have all your posts show up. and it's an easy way to like gauge just the posts. You can filter it as well. So when I'm working on Social Bakers, I'll just filter it to Nu Skin Corporate so I can look at our recent posts. We're on the Facebook, so it's going to show all of our Facebook posts as of late. And right here, you can label them, and then you can print off reports that have the labels separated out, so you can kind of see what kind of content you can do. You can create new labels, but the labels that are most important to us, for example, are the different types of content that we have, and we talked about these ones before, but it's like the citizenship, governance, innovation, leadership, performance, and products. So we kind of, and workplace. So we label all of our posts, and we come up with the reports. We do quarterly reports, determining, because once you export a report according to the labels that you've set up, you can see how well all of those different posts have done. And you can see, oh, well, it looks like leadership posts do really well. So we need to bump up the amount of posts that we're doing about leadership, or products will do really well. So we need to bump up the number of product posts that we're doing. So it's really basic just to apply the label. It'll say that there's a label posted right there. Then you can export them according to the labels that you have placed on your posts.
So I believe this is a kind of tool that you need to play with at some point just to get the hang of it.
Yeah,
it's a very good first introduction, but it's when you start scrolling and looking for your data and playing with filters that you really start looking into what it gives.
Just a question for this. Because for the local markets, it's interesting for them to look in their local pages, but from the EMEA overview, we do have our EMEA page, but don't we have like an accumulation of the results if we go to analytics, that we don't need to look into every single or every separate page, that we can have the overview somehow of all pages gathered of that post, the results?
Yes, Gail, I just sent it to you earlier on. You can indeed preview if you zoom out and you go back to overview of your region, that's possible. The problem in the export was that you could not export the same PowerPoint extract. It was into a PDF, so it's far less user friendly. I sent you that report, but maybe Jaren, you can show how you can either go to a page or that you can go to an overview of several countries.
No, it's not an overview of several countries. It's really one result. So not that I have all the different results.
What do you mean? Because the last PDF I sent you is like the results across EMEA.
Yes,
so
but then I saw Nu Skin France, Nu Skin Northern Europe.
Yes.
But for me, it's more, for example, the post that we did, for example, for the Power Lips.
Yeah.
It's everywhere the same post.
Yes.
If I want to see the results there, it will be all on separate pages. Now for me, it's
that's why you need to label them. So you need to label all of them as Power Lips, for instance, and then when you pull a report and it's pre-labeled, then it will say Power Lips did really well versus Pharmanex.
Okay, and then it will calculate Nu Skin France, Nu Skin UK, Nu Skin Northern Europe. So it's all takes it together. So it's not that, for example, for the reach of that post, I need to calculate or sum up every single reach to get my total reach.
That's a question to Jaren, because we haven't started labeling yet. So once you label, will it do you breakdowns per countries for your label?
Yeah. So if you once you break down the labels and you do the individual label, if you're labeling all of the Power Lips posts, it will pull up the Power Lips posts from the other countries that you've done, and you can compare and see which ones have done the best. If you're in the EMEA overview section, it'll tell you which ones have done the best. Does that make sense?
But that's still giving the results of every single page that we have. It's not counting them as one. So I still need to calculate everything, I guess.
Will it aggregate data as well, Jaren?
Once you export it into like an Excel sheet, it'll do that math for you on like if you're coming up with like the total reach, it'll do that math for you if you like export it onto an Excel sheet.
Okay. And now with labels, it's not that every time we have a label PowerLips, that it calculates for all the posts of PowerLips. For example, if I want to look into an individual post, I can still export that and it will calculate automatically the total reach. Or
yeah, because once you export it, then you'll export it according to the label. So just make sure that you can look up the labels that you've done, and you can look up you can just have it display the PowerLips labels, and then you export it onto an Excel sheet, and it'll have all of those that you've labeled as PowerLips on the Excel sheet.
Can you make us a demo maybe on one of the labels that you have, Jaren?
Yeah.
On corporate page?
So let's go. Well, actually, I'm going to go back here.
Can you maybe take, yes, a product if you have? Maybe it
Yeah,
will be,
so let's we haven't really broken it up by products that much, but we can do it by...
We could break it down by products. You can put multiple labels for one post?
Yeah.
And is this linked to the Spreadfast label system or not?
So we have the same labels. They're not linked together, but we have the same labels. We've just added them in. Okay. If that makes sense. We've just added in the labels for...
But then it doesn't make so much sense to label them in Spreadfast, or does it?
Well, it's just whatever you're looking at. So the reason why we do it on Social Bakers is so we can see what kind of interaction we got on them, because you don't really see that on Spreadfast. On Spreadfast, it's more a view of like during the month how many we've had.
Yeah, okay. It's more for calendar.
Label.
Okay.
But on Social Bakers, we're looking at the analytics behind it. So that's why we do it. So that's not pulling up, but let's see. So this Excel sheet's going to bring up, it's going to show us how our Facebook posts did for the last 30 days. So it's going to say which ones were promoted, which ones were paid, the kind of reaction that we got on all of them, the organic reach, and then the paid reach that we got on top of them.
So you still need to do a pivot if you want to add them up. So that's what Gael was saying, that you still need to manually aggregate them.
Yeah, so you will... Yeah, so I guess I misunderstood that part. So they'll be all the numbers will be displayed here, and then it'll do it. It'll have the sum down here.
Okay, so if you make a pivot,
if you the whole column, and then it'll have the sum right down here.
Okay, so we would typically take the interactions total interactions, and you would do a filter then based on, or a pivot based on then your label that's on column O. So on column O, you see labels. There, when you do your pivot, you choose your product if you have pre-labeled it. But will you have, because here it's just for the corporate page, will you have a breakdown per country?
Yes. So it's different when we're just looking at the corporate page. If you break it, if you have filter it by the country that you want, and you can pull up the Excel sheet, do the same thing right here, just highlight, and it'll come up with the sum down at the bottom.
Just a question, there's no way that we can build in that overview already visually in the system, that we don't need to export every time? Because for us, if, for example, at GCCN, they ask us some information on what are our top ranking posts, is for every post we need to check and calculate and look into labels. It's a bit more difficult than one overview to see which posts work well for all pages. So to have that overview of all, the sum already.
Yeah, so let me go back. So I'll go back to like the EMEA region and see if I can, because I know that I've been able to do this before. So just 1 second. It's where you want to see them like all together, right?
For us, it's more important. For us, it's not we don't individually go into every single Facebook posts. Page. I think that's more up to the local marketing managers. For us, we generally see it on if we have a campaign going from EMEA headquarters, that we get the total results and questions from GCCN. What are your top 10 ranking posts? That's something that would be great to see in one overview, but it then should not only be the Nu Skin EMEA page, it should have every single page with that post be together. So otherwise it will make our work a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, no, I get that. So I know that I've been able to do that. So let me do a little bit of research on it, and if I can get back to you, that would be great. Okay. Because I know I've been able to do it. I just need to like refresh on that.
Okay, if you can come back and to see if something like this would be possible, that would be good.
Yeah, and I guess when you have access, Gael, it's quite user-friendly, so you will even find your way faster and probably come up with the answer.
I don't know about that.
It's quite user-friendly. It just takes a bit of, me too, I just got in there and then you just find things. But it's true that there's different views, and it's more that across the different views, then you don't know where you click anymore. But yeah. Okay, that's a good point. Then we'll have a follow-up one to be able to make data per product easily and visually and automated.
And I'll get back with you as soon as I come up with that. And then at the end of the month of May, like in a few weeks, we can have a follow-up if anybody has further questions on social workers and things that have come up.
Like we've done for Spreadfast. After you got a hang of it, then we get the Q&A. Let's do that.
Are there any other immediate questions?
I think we're good. Then the next step is granting access to everyone, which you said you could do normally today, right?
Yeah.
With the right pages. And then I will send you in the same inventory. There's still a few people who are struggling with Spreadfast and a few profiles that need to be added. So I'll send you that as well. And then the next step is when could you make us a training about Synthesio?
Okay, so I'm not sure if you guys are aware about, I'm actually going to be coming out there. I'm going to Belgium in the month of June.
Okay.
And we're doing because we actually switched teams, so I'm now on the sales team, and Matt and Emily, so the three of us are there, and Matt and I will be going out to visit you guys, and so I'm thinking we can actually do an in-person training on Synthesio.
Is it part of? No, it's not part of the boot camp, is it?
It is part of the boot camp.
Okay, let me think, because we have a catch up on the boot camp, so I'll catch up with you. I'm not sure that we want to wait for June though. It's quite late for that tool. So
well, I'm thinking because it takes like 4 weeks. I'm gonna be like we'll do. Well, we can talk about on our individual call, but
yeah, okay.